Prologue: The Uncharted Island. Far off the coast of the Pacific Northwest lies an island shrouded in mist and mystery, known to locals as the Isle of Whispers. Few dared to venture there, for it was said to be cursed, its dark secrets buried beneath a veneer of natural beauty. Legends spoke of strange disappearances, ghostly apparitions, and whispers carried by the wind, driving those who heard them to madness. Chapter 1: The Invitation. It was late summer when 5 friends, Alex, an avid sailor, Maria, a marine biologist, Liam, an amateur photographer, Sarah, a thrill seeker, and David, a historian, gathered at the marina. Alex had recently inherited an old, yet sturdy sailboat from his grandfather and suggested they take a trip to explore the uncharted waters. The idea of visiting the Isle of Whispers was Maria's, drawn by tales of unique marine life and the island's unexplored terrain. Despite their initial hesitation, the group was swayed by the promise of adventure. They set sail on a clear, calm morning, the sun shining brightly and the sea sparkling. Spirits were high as they navigated towards their destination, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. Chapter 2: The Arrival. As they approached the island, a dense fog rolled in, obscuring their view. The boat's compass began to spin erratically, and Alex struggled to maintain their course. After what felt like an eternity, the fog lifted, revealing a rocky shoreline and a dense, foreboding forest. The air was eerily still as they anchored the boat and disembarked. The island was eerily silent, the only sound being the gentle lapping of waves against the shore. They made their way inland, eager to set up camp before exploring further. Their chosen campsite was a small clearing near the edge of the forest, close enough to the beach to hear the ocean but far enough to feel secluded. As they set up their tents and gathered firewood, an uneasy feeling settled over them, though none spoke of it. Chapter 3: The Whispers Begin. That night, as they sat around the campfire, strange noises began to emanate from the forest. It started with faint whispers, barely audible over the crackling fire. The whispers grew louder, becoming distinct voices speaking in an ancient, unknown language. Sarah, ever the skeptic, dismissed the sounds as the wind playing tricks on their minds. But as the night wore on, the whispers became more insistent, seeming to come from all directions. Liam, trying to capture the eerie atmosphere, took out his camera and began snapping photos. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the night, sending chills down their spines. They rushed towards the source of the sound, only to find Maria standing by the edge of the forest, her face pale and eyes wide with terror. "I saw something, someone," she stammered. "A figure, standing among the trees." Chapter 4: The First Disappearance. The next morning, the group decided to investigate the forest. They followed a narrow path, the trees growing denser and the light dimmer as they ventured deeper. Strange symbols were carved into the bark, and the whispers seemed to follow them, growing louder and more menacing. They stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin, its windows shattered and door hanging ajar. Inside, they found signs of a struggle, overturned furniture, broken glass, and a trail of blood leading to a trapdoor in the floor. Against their better judgment, they opened the trapdoor, revealing a dark, narrow staircase leading down into the earth. David, ever the historian, insisted on exploring further, convinced they had stumbled upon something of great significance. As they descended, the air grew colder and the whispers louder. The staircase led to a small, underground chamber filled with ancient relics and more of the strange symbols. In the center of the room was a large, stone altar, stained with what appeared to be dried blood. Before they could investigate further, the trapdoor above them slammed shut, plunging them into darkness. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped. Desperate to find a way out, they fumbled through the chamber, searching for an exit. In the chaos, they heard another scream, this time from Liam. They turned to find him gone, his camera lying broken on the floor. A cold wind swept through the chamber, and the whispers reached a fever pitch, echoing around them. Chapter 5: The Haunting Escalates. With Liam gone, the remaining friends were consumed by fear and paranoia. They eventually found a hidden passage that led them back to the surface, but their relief was short-lived. The forest seemed to close in around them, the trees twisted and gnarled as if reaching out to ensnare them. Back at their campsite, they discovered their supplies had been ransacked, and strange symbols were etched into the ground around their tents. The whispers were relentless, now speaking directly to each of them, revealing their darkest fears and secrets. Desperation drove them to search for Liam, but the island seemed to shift and change, the paths they had walked before now leading to dead ends or back to the clearing. Exhausted and terrified, they took turns keeping watch, but sleep was elusive. David, tormented by the whispers, began to unravel, convinced the island was alive and feeding off their fear. He spoke of the legends he had read about, the witch who cursed the land, the rituals performed to appease dark forces, and the countless souls lost to the island's hunger. Chapter 6: The Sacrifice. One night, David disappeared, leaving behind a journal filled with his frantic scribblings. He wrote of a vision he had seen in his dreams, a ritual to break the curse, requiring a willing sacrifice. The others, horrified by the idea, refused to believe it could be true. As the days passed, their situation grew dire. Maria fell ill, her skin pale and her eyes sunken. The whispers now seemed to mock them, driving them to the brink of insanity. With no sign of rescue and their hope dwindling, Alex made a fateful decision. He believed David's writings held the key to their survival. He proposed they perform the ritual, using himself as the sacrifice. Sarah and Maria vehemently opposed the idea, but Alex was resolute. He believed it was the only way to save his friends and end the curse. Chapter 7: The Ritual. With heavy hearts, they prepared for the ritual. Following the instructions in David's journal, they gathered the necessary items and made their way back to the underground chamber. The air was thick with anticipation, the whispers now a constant, maddening drone. As Alex lay on the stone altar, Maria and Sarah recited the incantation. The chamber seemed to pulse with energy, the symbols glowing with an otherworldly light. The ground shook, and a deep, guttural voice echoed through the chamber, demanding the sacrifice. With a final, anguished scream, Alex's body convulsed, and a blinding light filled the chamber. The whispers ceased, and a profound silence settled over the island. When the light faded, Alex was gone, and the chamber was empty. Chapter 8: The Escape. Maria and Sarah, overcome with grief and exhaustion, made their way back to the surface. The island, now eerily silent, seemed to release its hold on them. The paths were clear, and they found their way back to the shore with ease. As they boarded the sailboat, they looked back at the island, now shrouded in mist once more. The curse had been lifted, but at a terrible cost. They sailed away, the whispers of the island still echoing in their minds. Years later, Maria and Sarah returned to the mainland, forever changed by their ordeal. They spoke little of what had happened, each haunted by their memories. The Isle of Whispers remained a place of legend, its dark secrets buried beneath the surface. But the island's hunger was never truly sated. Those who dared to venture there would find themselves ensnared by the same malevolent force, their fates intertwined with the whispers of the past. And as the legends grew, so did the island's power, waiting for the next group of unwary souls to feed its insatiable appetite.
Don't forget to subscribe.